something. You gotta check this out.
He plays board games anymore.
Yo, what's this?
Jumanji. Pick a character and you're that person in the game.
Bethany, you in?
I don't spend my life staring at a TV screen. Fine.
Oh my god!
Where's my hair?
Where's the rest of me?
Oh my god, we're in different people's bodies!
Bethany, don't look at it!
No! I'm an overweight middle-aged man. Wait a second. Where's my phone? Don't cry, don't cry, don't cry, don't cry. I think we've become the avatars we chose.
Welcome to Jumanji!
This is a video game, which means we each have 3 lives.
Come on, let's go!
I'm Alex. Watch your step in here.
So gnarly. We can help each other. We all have special skills. Weakness, none.
I hate this game. Everybody else got good stuff.
Weakness? Cake.
Yes, cake is my weakness.
You're a good weapons valet.
What is that?
I think it means you carry my weapons and give them to me when I tell you to.
Don't let this new body get your butt whooped.
Ow! What the hell? We have to work together.
I think it's a staring contest.
Who's good at staring and not blinking?
I'm amazing at it. I can't even with this place.
We gotta go. Get on my back.
Hell no!
I'll carry you. Come on.
I would rather die.
Get on my back.
Nope, I'm gonna die. Put me down! What is this?
Pound cake. Cake? Isn't that your weakness?
Something happening to me? Am I shaking? Am I still black?
Yes.
Okay, we're fine. Everything is fine. It's all good.
Alrighty, welcome to a brand new edition of Build. My name is Kevin Kenny. We are joined today by a multi-platinum recording artist, and we can now officially say this, Nick, Golden Globe nominated.
Yeah.
Nick Jonas, everybody.
Hello, hello. How's it going?
It's going well, man. How's it going for you? This is a heck of a week. You're doing this big
It's the
promo.
best week ever.
Yeah.
Basically.
You gotten used to hearing those 2 words, those 3 words, Golden Globe nominated before your name yet?
No, I haven't gotten used to it. You might need to say it a few more times throughout the interview.
Yeah.
No, it's a really incredible thing. You know, I've been writing songs since I was about 10, 11 years old. And so to be recognized in this way for this song in such an incredible category with so many incredible writers and filmmakers and producers, it's really special. And I'm just trying to enjoy it as much as possible and say that Golden Globe nominated as many times as I can during the day because it's just great.
Absolutely. Now, a story I'm sure you've told plenty this week. And by the way, let's also, for our friends at home watching right now, this is for Ferdinand, another film you're a part of, not Jumanji, but in a song called Home. You wrote with Justin Tranter, an amazing songwriter. Where were you when you first heard the news?
Okay, so I was aware that I was in contention for the award, but it's like a 1 in a million chance, in my mind at least it was. So on Sunday night, I was at home, was hanging out with a friend, and went to bed kind of late because I was jet lagged from being on the Jumanji press tour, and I was awoken by my alarm going off in my house and a bang on my bedroom door. And so I got up in a panic and went to the door, and it was my friend with a phone. And he had this really blank expression on his face. And I thought someone died. Like, I genuinely was like, something bad happened. My mind went to, somebody's dead. And I've been asleep and slept through all these phone calls. And then I got on the phone, it was my manager, and he said, "You did it. You did it. You're Golden Globe nominated." So I ran around the house like a 10-year-old kid with my hands in the air. And, then after that, I called my parents and my brothers and the director of the film, Carlos. And from there, it's been a really incredible week. And, I would say this moment of Jumanji and the in this day had the Golden Globes nomination that morning, and then the Jumanji premiere in LA after a whirlwind press tour around the world, and it's probably the best moment of my career.
Wow. I want to talk about this LA premiere. Were you a part? This is a wild premiere. If you've seen pictures of anybody in the audience,
premiere, yeah.
Were you in this like Humvee that The Rock? Okay, so tell us about this like super gnarly Land Rover that.
First of all, I'm not sure Dwayne has his license, so he was driving this thing, and it was really the car, not him. But he kept stopping and starting, and then just the engine power would just go out. Luckily, we had a police escort to the premiere, and it was only like a 2-block drive. But I was nervous. The good news is I was seated behind Dwayne, so I knew that if something happened, if we hit somebody, I had some pretty big coverage.
I'd say so.
Big human airbag, so all would be okay.
That's so fun, man. Now, I want to get back to sort of the roots of you becoming involved with Jumanji. And I want to talk about Jumanji, actually, before we even get into the roots, that what you guys have done here, I'm such a big fan of, because this is not a remake of the 1995 film.
No, it is not.
This is sort of, at least in my eyes, what you guys did here is you took the spirit of what we all love about that classic with Robin Williams, and you made an entirely new film. You reimagined what Jumanji would be like today in 2017. You guys did it too. I mean, you've seen the reviews. You did it masterfully. What first attracted you to the movie? Was it the story, or was it the character of Alex, who you portray?
It was a couple things. I think that going back even further to my first introduction to this, in this last 4 years, breaking off solo, it was 2 parts. One part music and growing there and evolving, which has been incredible, but also the acting side of things, taking some risks, putting myself in rooms where, when my name came up with an eye towards a character, they would say, no, he's not the right guy, just off of whatever my previous acting experience was. But I've had a really great couple years of growth and finding some great projects, whether it was Kingdom, a TV show I did for a couple years, a film called Goat that was at Sundance and Berlin Film Festival, and then things like Scream Queens, in a totally different direction. And then this, so I was on tour last year, and I got a call from my agent. He said they're making Jumanji with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, Kevin Hart, Jack Black, and Karen Gillan, and they want you to read for this character. And I was such a massive fan of the original, I was just really curious to see what the angle was going to be for this film. And, I think like a lot of people, curious if it was a reboot or remake or if it was a continuation. And I read the script and fell in love with the story, with the characters. The use of the body swap is so brilliant. And it is also a thing where you watch 4 actors you've seen in some really incredible roles, but you've never seen them play teenagers like this, And my character is the sort of emotional anchor for the film, in a sense. I'm the most connected to Robin Williams' character, Alan Parrish, and the journey he went on. And the reaction to this film around the world has been incredible. People seem to really love it. And I'm really proud to be a part of something like this.
Yeah, it's an incredible film that you're a part of. I want to talk about the character of Alex really quick. Now, when we meet Alex in the film, he's got quite the bachelor pad, I guess you can say, in the world of Jumanji. It's really a hut in the middle of the jungle. And when I saw this, I was curious, how would Nick Jonas survive in those elements? Are you an outdoorsman? Would you do well? You'd be fine. Really?
I like to believe I'd be all right. I didn't do a whole lot of camping as a kid, but I have done a bit since I've gotten older, and just adventure stuff in general. Yeah. I did Bear Grylls' TV show, and we weren't in the jungle. We were up in the Sierra Nevada mountains on a 2-day traverse down the mountains in the middle of a snowstorm, which was one of the best experiences of my life. But I'm up for just about anything. And so of the 4 of us, or 5 of us in this cast, I would say that I would be the most likely to succeed in the jungle.
Wow.
Yeah.
If anybody's watching.
Kevin Hart would be done very quickly.
A question that I've seen you be asked, 100 times. I'm not going to ask you it again about these strengths and weaknesses, right? You tap your chest.
I thought you were going to ask me if I worked out with The Rock.
No, that's another question
all the time.
That's another question.
I did not, just to be clear, but probably should have.
But the strengths and weaknesses, right? So if you have not seen the film, of course, it's not out until December 20th, you tap your chest in Jumanji and you get strengths and weaknesses. And I've seen you get asked tons of times what your personal biggest strength and biggest weakness is. But I'm curious, let's take a little spin on that question. You're a singer, you're a recording artist, but you're also now an actor in the world of Hollywood. What would you say is your biggest strength and your biggest weakness as a singer, and then your biggest strength and your biggest weakness right now as an actor?
Okay, that's a good question. I'm a little distracted by whatever this noise is, but I'm gonna ignore it. So I think as a singer, my biggest strength is that I've really come into my own and settled into the kind of music that I want to make and the stories I want to tell. And as a songwriter, I've grown to the point where I'm confident that I can accomplish whatever I set out to do when I walk into a room. 10,000 hours is absolutely the way that I would describe it. Doesn't mean I always get it right, but it means that I know I can leave the studio with something, and from there, I can either establish, okay, it's good, or it's bad, or it needs work, whatever it is. And then the weakness would be that I am constantly doubting myself.
In the world of music.
In the world of music. I mean, I've had some incredibly humbling experiences over the last couple of years, as well as some big success, you know, and I think a moment like being nominated for a Golden Globe is one, is a moment where you kind of go, wow, this is my life, this is incredible, but, you know, I always go to as well, what's next? You know, how am I going to continue to grow, push myself to evolve? And I think that's important, but when it's driven from sort of a place of self-doubt, I think it's tough, and I still go through that so many years into my career.
Well, just jump in really quick. Can you share like a story or a moment of self-doubt? Because that's fascinating to me. You've accomplished so much in the world of music. You have so many fans the world over. Might be Kevin Hart, by the way, coming to get you for that comment. But how does Nick Jonas have a moment of self-doubt?
I mean, I think the biggest thing that I can look to is a humbling moment last year where I blanked on a guitar solo mid TV performance, and that was incredibly humbling and eye-opening and sort of a reset button in a lot of ways. And listen, you can't plan when your brain is going to do what human brains do, which is sometimes you have a brain fart. It happens. And unfortunately, I had one on a very public stage, you know, and so that instilled some self-doubt. And even to the point where, like, you know, picking up a guitar again and, like, just playing was uncomfortable. And then I'm literally holding a guitar this morning, playing the Today Show, a song that I wrote about my family, the people I love, the people that inspire me every day, with a dear friend of mine, Justin Tranter. I'm holding a guitar and playing it, and I'm thinking to myself, this is a long way from that moment I was doubting myself, wondering what was next, you know. It was a special moment, actually. So there's that, and then there's other times, but I think it's more important to focus on the growth and the amazing couple years. And then on the acting side, I think the strength is that I'm a sponge. I try to soak up as much as I can from everybody that I encounter, from the filmmakers, the producers, everything, to the other actors. Obviously, being on a set with people like this, I learned so much, and I think I became a lot funnier even being around Jack and Kevin, or I'd like to believe I did. And then the weakness is, you know, on the acting side of things, I think that there are times I've got a chip on my shoulder, like if I'm just being totally vulnerable and real, is that I think it's only natural that coming from where I came from, which is, you know, film projects and other things for Disney, it's an incredible life experience and good training on how to be in front of the camera, but it doesn't necessarily prep you for really intense acting roles. You know, so there's a little bit of, like, I feel at times like I have to prove myself, or I walk into certain rooms and push myself to prove myself. But I think that the biggest lesson I've learned is that you just have to focus on the work in front of you, and not what happened yesterday or what might happen tomorrow, but just say, okay, today I'm showing up, these are my lines, this is the story I need to tell, so if the audience is connected to these characters and to the story, and what's my purpose within it. And I've loved that process, and I think Kingdom, and working with Jonathan Tucker, my castmate on that, who played my brother, and he's a dear friend of mine now, really taught me a big lesson, and that was just be as present as you can in that moment, and don't think about anything else. And it's really fun and challenging, and I think that's why the acting side of things is so important to me as I step forward, because every day I show up on a set, regardless if it's more dramatic stuff or comedy and the action, I'm learning something new, I'm pushing myself, and at 25, that's all I want to be doing, is putting myself in a position to grow and get better and also have a lot of fun.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, you said some things in there that caught my ear. You talk about focus. You talk about your start in Disney. A co-star, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, has been very outspoken in terms of complimenting you throughout this press run about how mature you are, how well-spoken you are, despite, or I should say maybe in light of getting such an early start as a kid in the world of entertainment, because you and I both know that sometimes does not always go as planned, does not always go so well. You can easily fall off your path and lose focus. How have you been able to just stay, I should say, so true to yourself and stay focused and really, I mean, seemingly not fall off?
This is one of the best interviews I've ever had. You're very good. Just want to put that out there. He's great. Give it up for him, yeah. I would say it's an appreciation for what I get to do. You know, I know that if again, I feel like I'm being really like very transparent here, but I'm just gonna say it. I think that my brothers and I had enormous success really early on, and I don't know that in some ways on a creative level, an artistic level, we'd quite evolved to the place to deserve the level of success that we'd reached. And I can say that knowing that you know, we're grateful to have had fans that really supported us and were incredibly passionate. And that probably got us over the hump of needing to grow artistically, you know, and that happened towards the end of our run. But then, you know, once we broke off solo, Joe with DNC, me on my own, and Kevin with his other business ventures and the things he's done, I think there was a real understanding that, okay, this is amazing, and I'm so grateful to get the opportunity to really have a second shot, a second opportunity to step out, and that doesn't happen for a lot of people. You know, it's kind of those first impressions really stick, or people are gracious enough, both in the business side of things and the relationships you make along the way. Billboard being a prime example of, you know, a place where they were incredibly supportive of us early on, and you know, once they saw the growth they needed to see as individuals or the separate pieces, they were supportive there. But then it goes back to the fans, and even beyond just the love of the fans, I think people that maybe were even doubters of what those next steps might be, all of that is a driving force and something to look at and say, okay, I'm really grateful to be in a position to still get to do this, still have people support me, and still be anxious to want to grow and get better.
Yeah. And you're still doing it, and you're doing it actively right now. You're very busy this time of year. In addition to Jumanji hitting theaters next week, you're working on new music, and you even have new music out. Before we get to the project coming next year, I do want to talk about what I have to imagine must be some sort of a childhood dream come true, a bucket list item maybe. You have a song out right now, a Christmas song with Shania Twain.
Yes.
That's amazing. And you approached her, I understand. You brought the song to Shania.
Yeah. So basically, I got to work with her earlier this year at Stagecoach. I performed with her, which was a dream come true, to share the stage with her and to get some time afterwards just to talk and hang out. And she was amazing, and her team's all amazing. And so I wrote some Christmas music because in addition to Home, the song from Ferdinand, my idea this year creatively was focus on my record and the music I'm going to make for my release, but then also keep it fresh. And by doing that, I was able to write up some Christmas music, you know, and in the middle of a hot day in August was like, all right, let's just go in the studio, keep the studio real cold, put on some Christmas music with no music in the background and write some songs. And then I came out with this song, Say All You Want for Christmas, and I played it for my brother Joe. I said, who do you think the female should be on the song? And, you know, knowing that my melodic sensibility is so influenced by Shania Twain, and it's really apparent in this song, he was like, well, it's got to be Shania, obviously. So I wrote her and sent her the song and said, would you ever consider doing this with me? And she said, yeah, I'd love to. I'll record it next week.
Just that easy.
And I was like, oh my God. Shania Twain. And she's, you know, she's really incredible and obviously an icon, but also I think another cool example of someone that has had enormous success but continues to push the envelope and even collaborate with people now that are heavily influenced by her music, and it's a really special thing.
Yeah. Well, you know what's fascinating to me, and tell me if I'm digging too deep or over-intellectualizing your music as of late, but you talk about Shania, you talk about your love of Shania and her melodies. She comes from a world of country music where songwriting is king, right? The lyrics are king. And then you get back to your recent single, Find You, where you sort of took a pop sound, a house sound maybe, that maybe traditionally doesn't have the deepest lyrics, I guess is the nicest way to put it, and you put incredibly deep and meaningful lyrics into your song, Find You. Is that any indication of where you're going with this next project in terms of just really, you've always made meaningful music, but is it an emphasis on the lyrics?
Well, I mean, I hate to sound this way, because I'm about to say it, and I'm going to hate myself for saying this, but at 25, which I know is not old, I'm aware of that, but at 25, you're no longer 18, you know, or even 21. You know, I've learned some important lessons in this last couple of years that I feel like have really influenced the way I approach the songwriting process. And I've also made some great friendships in who I collaborate with. So Justin Tranter being one, Simon Wilcox, who I wrote a lot of my songs with, but the biggest one, I guess, is Jealous, and a couple others. So
Well, you wrote Find You with Simon too, right?
I wrote Find You with her, yeah. So, and then, you know, Skylar Grey, I love her, and we wrote some great songs. But in that, the people I was collaborating on the lyrics with were really important, because I was wanting to, I think, take the approach of a country music songwriter, where the lyric is first and the storytelling is important. And also, as the acting side takes a bigger priority for me in the last couple of years, I love being able to tell a story, and you know, this is kind of my opportunity to do that with my music and the lyrics and everything else. And also with something like Find You, which you're absolutely right, it is sort of a deeper lyric against sort of a house pop vibe. You know, Simon Wilcox is the best, and she demands that I go to a very real place. If I even stray for a moment and kind of try to do the easy line, the one that rhymes easily, she draws it right back and says, no, we got to dig deeper. And I think that's the best case scenario, to have someone that pushes you like that. And I'm really grateful for that.
100%. Now, of course, we don't have a release date. We don't need a release date right now. But what is the latest update you can give us and your fans here in attendance today on the new body of work?
Well, you know, I use this word soon, and then I look through my mentions and I see how pissed off they get. So I won't say that. But by the way, I just want to say, I am so grateful for my incredible fans that have supported me for so long. I love you guys. Now, I'm aware that you know, that it's been a while now of doing this, and to still be in a spot where you show up and are so supportive means the world to me, so thank you. But soon is not the word I'll use, but I think beginning of next year. You know, the record's already done, and I'm literally just like sitting at home with it, like just looking at it like a prized possession, waiting to release it. But yeah, after the Jumanji craziness is done, get through the Globes, and hopefully the other big show, which I'm not even going to say, because where's some...
It's not, yeah.
Then, you know, we'll go from there.
Awesome. Well, Nick, as you have said, your fans are in attendance in abundance today, and we have some fan questions actually to get to right now at this portion of the show. Where's the first one? Right here?
Hi, Nick.
Hey.
Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
I was reading an article where you spoke about how it was serendipitous that when you got the role of Jumanji, you were on tour, and Jumanji was playing in the background. Could you tell us about that experience?
Yeah, so I was in Miami, Florida, when I sent in my tape, my audition tape for the role. And I've never been so anxious about anything in my life but to hear if I got it or not. So this was probably last couple weeks of June. Didn't hear anything for a while. Got through July 4th. The tour was up and going, and I was so stressed out. And then I was here in New York for one of the shows, and I was driving to the venue, and I got the phone call. And on TV that day was Jumanji, the original. And literally, as I'm like talking to my agent, my manager, and they said, "You got the role," you know. I'm like watching the movie. It was a crazy moment, but that's kind of how I think how the universe works, and it's sort of meant to be. And you know, I am excited for maybe the Top Gun remake, and I'll be watching TV, and I'll get a call that I'm in that one. Thank you for your question.
All right, second audience question right here.
Hi, Nick.
Hi.
So my question to you is, what was your favorite part about filming Jumanji, and did you get to do any stunts in the movie?
I did some stunts. Yeah, I love that side of things. It's really fun. And then favorite part, to be honest, I will say that my favorite part about shooting the movie was working with Jack Black. He's just incredible. We had a lot of really great scenes together, but we also became friends outside of shooting. We would, we were on Oahu, the island of Oahu, and we'd take food adventures basically on the weekends. So if you're ever there, Honolulu, Oahu, Pig and the Lady was a great spot. Alan Wong's Mud Hen Water is maybe my favorite. Go check those out. They're phenomenal.
Now, I got to jump in here really quick. That was a great question. Jack is not just your co-star in this movie. You guys are dropping a fire record, I understand, next week.
I think it's next week or this week.
Or this week. Jumanji.
Jumanji. Yeah, basically the story is that Jack sings all the time. You know, he's kind of exactly as you hope he would be in that way. And we were on set. And we would just start singing the song. We started writing it basically, and then I made a track with a friend of mine, and we will be releasing it. It's a joke, but it's terrible. I mean, but it's also amazing at the same time. You know, it's sort of like me and Jack doing the Jumanji version of like Phantom of the Opera or something.
Can we get a little bit of it, like a 5-second snippet right now of Jumanji?
Jumanji, it's the jungle inside your soul. I'll leave it there. I need my co-star to do it with. Yeah.
Straight to the top of the charts with that one.
Yep.
Third audience question right up front.
Hi, Nick.
Hello.
Congratulations on everything.
Thank you so much.
So I'm wondering, if you could cast your brothers in any of the roles in Jumanji, what would you do?
Great question.
I could cast my brothers in any of the roles, like instead of the other people.
You can
Well, I'll tell you this: when you see the
gender
movie,
bend too.
when you see the movie, you will be glad that I didn't cast any of my brothers as Jack Black's character, because he and I have some scenes together that would be incredibly uncomfortable with my brothers. But maybe Kevin as Dwayne. Would they inhabit his body as well? Their bodies?
Why not?
Yeah, I think Kevin would enjoy being The Rock for a day or two. I mean, I would. And then Joe as Joe as Kevin Hart. I think Joe thinks he's as funny as Kevin Hart, but maybe isn't. Good question.
We have time for one more fan question right in the back over there.
Hi. So
Hey.
I just wondered, since you have a limited amount of lives in the movie, how did that influence your actors' choices, like your character, Alex? How
That's
that
a good
influenced him?
question. Well, I don't want to give too much away because, again, I hope you'll go see the movie. But when you see it, you will see that my character is heavily influenced by the fact that he's got 3 lives. I'm not saying he may or may not. I can't say too much, or Sony's going to call me really mad. But I basically don't have all my lives. I won't say how many I have or don't have. And so there's a lot of fear, and it affects his ability to do anything. And I think he's, in a lot of ways, kind of crippled by that fear. And when I said before, the emotional anchor of the movie, I think it was the thing I was most drawn to about the character, because, to be honest, most of my acting experience is more in the dramatic space as now an adult. So I was more comfortable with that than comedy, because comedy is really hard. It may seem like it'd be easier, but it's incredibly difficult. And the respect I have for the brilliant comedic actors in this film, all 4 of them, or 5, including the alligator or whatever, did a really amazing job. And so, yeah, go see the movie, and then we'll talk about how I was affected.
All right, thank you so much for your questions. Nick, thank you so much for stopping by.
Kevin,
Again,
thank you.
Jumanji out everywhere, December 20th. Thanks for watching.